There's a new Razer Blade laptop, Will, and it's not aimed at gamers. So how about that? Razer is going after the creative class, guys like yourself, Will, with the Razer Blade Studio Edition. And this is for guys like you. It's for guys like Kirk and guys like Jack, MacBook Pro users. Look at that thing. Doesn't it look like a MacBook Pro? Mm-hmm. And I think this is a good move, to be honest. There's not a lot of options in this space with this very specific target. And there's a ton of dissatisfied MacBook users, MacBook Pro users, because, man, it seems like I can't get away from the articles talking about the keyboard issues and the lack of, I mean, it hasn't been modernized all that much. The screen still has a giant bezel on it. Anyhow, obviously, the fan base for MacBook Pros is always going to be out there, but here's an alternative in the Windows space aiming to mimic the MacBook Pro experience, but while including NVIDIA's Quadro graphics. So it'll have the RTX 5000 mobile GPU. This is targeted at creative professionals, specifically targeted at creative software in the content creation space. So it should be optimized for Adobe's suite and various other software that people would use to create content, 2D, 3D content, video editing, Photoshop, all this kind of stuff, all this good stuff. So they're going to make a 15-inch version with a 4K OLED display. That's pretty cool. And then a 17-inch version as well with a 4K 120 hertz display. Of course, you can get the i9 processors in there and the RTX 5000 mobile GPU that I just mentioned. So an interesting play from Razer. I feel like somebody should have occupied this space. You switch over to the Windows side, and if you're in the content creation space, you either go for something that looks kind of boring like this, if you're into it, doesn't bother me that much, or you've got something that looks like a gaming computer, which is kind of weird, a weird thing to bring to like a boardroom meeting, you know? There was a bit of a gap there, and I guess this is aiming to fill that gap. Now, do you feel like the visual language here is too much MacBook? Will, is it too much of a knockoff, or do you feel like it's unique?
I think it is, like the black bezels and like the silver kind of look.
So that maybe the lighter keys save it in a way.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It does have like a different accent color with the keys. I don't know. I mean, the front of it kind of looks like a MacBook too, with just the logo, the Razer logo. I mean, there's not much differentiation, but
I mean, it's hard at this point.
It's really hard.
What is it? You got black, you got silver. What can you really do? Where can you go? Everything's been done. It's hard. It's a hard comparison to make. But this is obviously less MacBook than the MateBook.
Yeah.
Which we showcased on the previous version, which is like, it looks like a direct kind of knockoff, obviously. But again, even in that department, people were very happy about it because that's what they wanted. It turns out people wanted a Windows MacBook knockoff. But I do agree with you. The Razer Studio product is a bit more of its own thing, and an interesting development from a company that previously pretty much was only synonymous with gaming related stuff. And so I think this is a good move. Now the question for me, I'm hoping of course to get my hands on this. The question for me is going to be about the keyboard, because I'm always talking about keyboards. People are probably sick of it at this point, but I got to have a nice keyboard, and I'm very critical of keyboards on laptops. So we'll see how that one shakes out and whether or not it's a compelling package for me. But I could see myself being interested in this thing. Mm-hmm. You know?
Coming in the fall.
Coming in the fall.
It's pretty close.
It's all going to happen.